If you have a 2013 to a 2018 Ford C-Max with a front windshield washer issue, you might want to watch this video because I had a broken windshield washer line, which I actually didn't find where the break was until after I had taken apart, and it was pretty simple to find at that point. But the replacement was a little bit unorthodox. I bought the new windshield washer hose from FordParts.com, and it was about $15 with free shipping from a Ford dealer in Florida. Check all the different Ford dealers around, and you'll find many different prices if you go to FordParts.com. Now, it's pretty simple to find out where you can fill your windshield washer fluid on the Ford C-Max, but actually finding where the reservoir is located is a little more difficult. You have to take off the passenger side wheel and the wheel well cover to actually find that reservoir. Notice here the line, you start taking the clips off and it becomes a little more evident where it goes into that fender, but still it's not exactly clear. You do have to do a little searching, especially, again, like me, I couldn't find any sort of video explaining what to do and how to find the reservoir on the C-Max. There was some text on some websites that I found, but no actual pictures or video. And if you're thinking it's going to look like the Ford Focus and you'll find it where the Ford Focus's reservoir is located, not quite exactly. Even though the Focus, the C-Max, and the Ford Escape or Kuga in Europe are all made on the same platforms, they do have different features, and they're not put together the same. Now, I have an American version, a 2013 Ford C-Max Energy, which is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. But notice how the windshield washer hose is kind of snaked around here. Look at it when you find it and kind of trace where it goes, because again, it's not all that evident, it's not that clear, and so it does take a little bit of investigation work as to how that old hose will come out and how you'll get that new hose in there. Once you figure it out, it's actually not too difficult, and this job took me an hour and a half, I would say, not knowing what I'm doing. There's that reservoir. You have to look up into the fender because that's where it's actually located once you get that wheel off and the wheel well cover on the inside. It's not hanging down there low, so you're not going to see it. As soon as you get the wheel off, you got to go inside and look up to find the reservoir. I think if I had to do this again, knowing kind of what I've already done before, it's probably more like a 30-minute job and not an hour and a half. But I was doing this on the fly. Again, I had no reasonable instruction to use, no photos, no videos, and so I was kind of figuring it out on my own along the way. Of course, you got to get all these clips out, and there's a handful of them or so, maybe half a dozen. I don't know. I'm not counting and doing the math, but I used my little clip puller or whatever you want to call it, and I got all those little clips out. Also, when you look in there under the fender, you've got some of the electrical components in there, some electrical and engine components that you can see once you get these items off. And so it's interesting to kind of see what's kind of going on in there, because there's a lot of stuff fit into a small space on the Ford C-Max. Of course, you've got the gasoline engine, the internal combustion engine. We call it the ICE motor. And then you've got the electrical components as well. So getting everything back together, and yeah, there was that break. So once I got the line off, I could actually see where it was. And it was right around where the hinge was on the hood. These are the tools you're going to need. Not many. And you can also find the torque specs for your wheels in the owner's manual. I know that was a little complicated as well. I couldn't get good information online. It was different for European versions versus American versions. And at first I thought my windshield washer wasn't working because, yeah, these were clogged up. But it wasn't them. I cleaned them out and it still didn't work. But I got it all back together, and now I've got a clean windshield once again. Lovely.